What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Surfing the Stream, where every week we are on a quest to find out what is the greatest movie of all time. Today I am here to review Godzilla x Kong, Godzilla Cross Kong, Godzilla and Kong, Godzilla Kong, The New Empire. Probably one of the worst names for a movie ever. It goes right back down there to Batman v Superman, Batman versus Superman. Like, guys, can we just come up with some decent titles here? Like, the name of this fucking movie sucks. Godzilla Kong, The New Empire just came out recently on digital, so I had to go check it out with my sons, okay? Because as terrible of a movie as Godzilla vs. Kong was, it was a lot of fun, okay? This was one of the movies that came out during COVID, and it was kind of like a breath of fresh air in terms of just needing to turn our brains off. So going into this sequel of sorts, I had just middle of the road expectations. If anything, this movie is entertaining as shit. It is so absurd at times. I'm just saying, like, this movie is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And that's the way it should be. You know, when Godzilla vs. Kong came out, we all said, look, you have to swing for the fences and you have to really just nail the absurdity of what's going on for this particular movie. They didn't really go into that head first, okay? They didn't commit 100% to that concept. This movie, they said, fuck it, we're committing it 100%, and it's going to be the most absurd thing you've ever watched. We have Godzilla sprinting in Egypt. We have him sprinting throughout cities, jumping off buildings with a swan dive, uppercutting Kong. And then we have Kong, who is honestly just a real badass in this movie. Godzilla, for the most part, is kind of lackluster in this movie. They really honed in on like Kong and his story for the last two movies. And I'm not saying that's not what they should do, but like they did my boy Godzilla dirty in this movie. Like he legitimately is in this not very long, and he doesn't get a whole lot of great moments. I mean, yeah, sure. I still whooped and cheered whenever he came on screen and he was doing his destruction and shit like that, right? But for the most part, he takes a back seat in this movie. The monster stuff in this movie is fantastic. The CGI looks great. What sucks about this movie is the thing that has sucked in all the other movies in the Monsterverse, and that is the human element, the human portion of the story. They just cannot nail that. You know, in the first Godzilla movie, it was really good for about the first 10, 15 minutes. Like, you were making compelling characters in that movie, and then it just completely fell apart. And then the second movie, I think it was a little bit better, like, consistently. But for the most part, the human elements just suck in these movies. I'm pretty sure that they just regurgitated the same storyline from Godzilla vs. Kong into this movie. I honestly couldn't tell you what the fucking story is with the humans. They're doing something. They're going to Hollow Earth for something, yada, yada, yada. Godzilla and Kong fight each other, and that's really all we care about, okay? And then we have the Scar King that comes in there, which I think is one of my biggest complaints about the monsters. Like, I understand, like, from a more slender perspective, he can dominate King Kong and Godzilla. But to me, I don't like the way he's designed. He's just long and slanky, and I don't know. I feel like for an imposing force over Godzilla and Kong, you would need a brute force of a monster to really make them team up to fight each other. And I don't really feel that from Scar King. He's just kind of long and lanky, you know? And I don't think that really poses a huge threat to the two titans. But like I said, the human elements really suck. I don't know what the storyline is. I didn't really give a shit, honestly. But overall, guys, this is what Godzilla vs. Kong should have been from the get-go. It should have been absolutely absurd, ridiculous. I'm yelling and hollering in my house with my sons, and we just had a great time watching this movie. And is it worth a second watch? You know, maybe when you're trying to do like a little marathon watch, but I don't know if this is a movie that I'm going to play multiple times throughout my life, just all willy-nilly. I did pay $25 for it. I personally would wait for it to go on sale before you watch it. While the movie is entertaining, I don't think it's worth $25 right now on digital. I personally would wait till it hits right around the $15 mark. I think that's a little bit easier to digest of a price point for this particular movie, just because of how just terrible the human elements of the movie is. But it is what Godzilla vs. Kong should have been from the get-go, and that is this just absolutely ridiculous UFC fight. But guys, you let me know in the comments below of what you think about Godzilla vs. Kong, or Godzilla crosses Kong, Godzilla and Kong. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the movie, and I'll catch y'all next time on another episode. Laters.